And at the end of that meeting, probably in the first 2 minutes, I'll know exactly whether or not a deal can be made. Because that's what I do. I make deals. Well, we're going to have a meeting with Vladimir Putin, and at the end of that meeting, probably in the first 2 minutes, I'll know exactly whether or not a deal can be made. Because that's what I do. I make deals.
Interesting. Hey, y'all, Gravity, a day above ground living. I hope you're having a fantastic start to your Saturday and your weekend. One more time for those who are just coming in.
Well, we're going to have a meeting with Vladimir Putin, and at the end of that meeting, probably in the first 2 minutes, I'll know exactly whether or not a deal can be made. Because that's what I do. I make deals.
The end of that meeting, probably within the first 2 minutes, I'll know if a deal is in place. Okay. I mean, that's great. You have that foresight, being a businessman and all. Now, he said that back August 11th. Today is the 16th. Let's see how that went, because I'm sure he figured out the deal in... Dan Scavino, he wrote, happening now at 5:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, POTUS, Trump, Secretary Rubio, and Steve Witkoff are still meeting behind closed doors with President Putin and the Russian delegation here at Joint Base Elmendorf, Richardson, and Anchorage, Alaska, where they were having the meeting. They say that Trump and Putin talked for about 2 hours, 45 minutes. Now, again, this doesn't mean that they didn't get a deal together. Yeah, fucking right. If I had to venture a guess, it was to make sure that Trump got something out of Russia tapping the Bering Strait. He also said something to the effect of this here. Trump, we're going straight to a Russia-Ukraine peace deal, not a mere ceasefire. Now, what does this mean? He don't want no ceasefire, which means they could act up again, because he already saw what happened with Israel and Iran. But this also means NATO's pissed all the way off, because he made them pay more money, and now he wants to go to a peace deal, which means them funding Ukraine just cost them more for no reason. They're going to screw us later. But again, we're going to read this article. This was on Fox News yesterday. So it says, President Donald Trump is ready to zoom past the ceasefire and get straight to a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine, because he wants that Nobel Peace Prize. He's all about trinkets. We're going to call him Trinket Trump. President Trinket. But okay. After his high-stakes summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin, and ahead of his meeting with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, which is going to happen Monday, Trump announced his intention to bring a more final end to the war. It was determined by all that the best way to end the horrific war between Russia and Ukraine is to go directly to a peace agreement, which would end the war and not a mere ceasefire agreement, which oftentimes do not hold up. Trump wrote in Truth Social post on Saturday. That was this morning. This is a developing story. Check back for details and updates. Let's see how Fox News is going to spin this. But before I do that, how y'all doing this morning? I always forget to ask that. There's one other thing I want to show y'all before we get into that. Because someone from Fox News, this must be the week they don't like that man. There was a reporter who did I won't say a remote, she did a report on what was happening, and we got it. MAGA's pissed off at her just for telling what happened from her perspective. They are full hot. There was one other post I want to get. Yeah, this one. Now, remember when he said 2 minutes, he'll know? Let me turn this light off. Well, let's see. He talked to Hannity, Clanity, what we call him. I want y'all to hear what he said.
The interview, you said, in 2 minutes, I will know. I watched very closely when you met him on the red carpet after both your planes landed. What vibe did you get in 2 minutes?
Well, you know, I always had a great relationship with President Putin, and we would have done great things together in terms of, you know, their land is incredible.
Who is we? His land is incredible.
The rare earth, the oil, gas, everything, it's incredible. It's the largest piece of land in the world as a nation by far. I think they have 11 time zones, if you can believe it. That's big stuff. But we would have done a lot of great things, but we had the Russia hugs, which stopped us from doing that. We would have done so great. But we had one of the great hoaxes. I mean, there were others, like the election itself, as you know.
He went right back to the election.
Better than anyone, but it was a rigged election and a horrible thing that took place in 2020. But we would have had a great relationship, but we did amazingly well considering, yeah, he would look and see what happened. He would think we're crazy, you know, with the made-up Russia hug. So
Make sure y'all hit the like.
we had something very important, and we had a very good meeting today, but we'll see. I mean, it's, you know, you have to get a deal. We agreed on a lot of points. I want to see people stop dying in Ukraine. And
So if you wanted people to stop dying, why did you send them weapons? You tried to punk that man in your house with Vance on your flank, and you still gave that man weapons. But okay.
what's happening? We're losing 5, 6, 7,000. They're Russians, mostly Russians, and they're Ukrainian soldiers. There's some people dying in cities and towns where they're trying to blow up missile manufacturers and other things in some cities. I don't know if you know what's going on there, but there are a lot of people dying. And if we can end that war, it would be very good. And I was very happy to hear him say if I was president, that war would have never happened.
Okay. I don't know who's around this man, but they're not telling him the truth. Russia ain't got to do nothing. They already won. As you just said, he did this when I wasn't there. Okay. He still would have did it while you were there. It just would have ended quicker. Number 2. Again, Trump, I don't know who's around you, but the simple fact that the U.S. gave back Victor Bout, you never had any way of putting negotiating peace on the table. What y'all did was akin to giving back the enemy's tactical advisor, the leader of the army. You can't talk to that man. Whatever you try to propose, he ain't going to go for. You're going to end up selling out Ukraine, which is fine. That's fine, crispy little fuck. That's fine. I know you don't understand geopolitics. It's okay. But anyway. Trump out here trying to sell MAGA and the American people that his meeting went well. We have the 12-minute full press conference. And us being black folks, we are trained in body language. We're going to watch that. But I also want to show y'all this. Now, this is the chick from Fox News who went on and gave a report on what she heard from the press conference. And then we're going to look at the comments. As I said, MAGA was in their feelings about what she said.
It was just very unusual, atypical, and I think we're all awaiting, the readout, because the way that it felt in the room was not good. It did not seem like things went well, and it seemed like Putin came in and steamrolled, got right into what he wanted to say, and got his...
He steamrolled. That's an interesting choice of words. Let's see the full update, the full report, I should say.
I think you and me both, Brian, and everyone else in this room was also surprised.
Here we go. Recuello, we're not crying about illegals Epstein in Palestine. Illegals gotta go. Epstein, we knew that he wasn't going to do anything about that. We're actually laughing at MAGA still asking about this list. And in terms of Palestine, I've already been on record 3 years ago when this started. 2 years ago when this started, I said prayers to the victims of this, but both of them, this happens every 5 years. Let them have it. So tell us again where we're crying about it. Now shut the fuck up.
We're going to have an opportunity to put questions to both leaders after a joint press conference in the event that the meeting went well enough that they could set the stage for a second meeting. And
the second meeting,
said if that didn't happen, he was likely to call off the joint presser and just address the media solo and then send Putin home.
Well, I'm black and I'm not fat.
And what was really stunning to me,
you sound like a butthurt white supremacist.
There were a few things that were very unusual.
Let me guess, your daughter's still asleep, so you can't fuck her, right? You probably should wake her up.
We are on U.S. soil here, and that left the media scrambling to get their headsets in. Usually it is the leader of the country, the host country of the summit, that speaks first and addresses the room in their language. But Putin started right off in Russian, and we all had to get our headsets on. And
no, leave him alone.
Rattle off this
let the pussy talk. You gotta let pussy talk every month. Pussy gotta bleed and talk.
Something that we didn't get many details on, but also, without knowing the full background of it, there was something that he said that was a little bit alarming, I thought, that seems like some of the things that he has done in the past, setting up false flags and that kind of thing, saying that we hope that Ukraine doesn't do anything to sabotage the progress that we made today, knowing full well that Ukraine has agreed to a ceasefire unconditionally for the last several months, and it has been Russia that has not agreed to a ceasefire. That was President Trump's main objective today. And when we did hear from the president, he said, we didn't get there, but we think that we can. So a lot of questions remaining for the president, Trump, not just about what was discussed in that room and what might be happening now, but also how that all happened back there.
He ain't even tell you all this. Let's see what them comments, I'm sure they were nice. It's called being a good host. You let the guests go first. But wait, this is the same dude they said is a power player. What? This was a brutal report to hear. I question the people around Trump most of all. How do you put the leader of the free world in this position? Biden's people would have hidden him. Always going back to Biden. Okay. You're on Russian soil. Putin is Trump's boss. Oh, this is great. Trump has bent the knee to Putin. It's obvious. No, he bent the knee to BRICS. What a disaster. The ends justifies the means, Trump style. No more politics as usual. He's Putin's B. That's why. It looks like even Fox are unable to spin this for Trump. Am I right? No, they're pissed off at him this week. Donald Trump went to this meeting for one reason, to distract from the Trump-Epstein files. The diplomatic red carpet in Anchorage was rolled out as a stage prop for Putin. Letting him speak first wasn't a breach of protocol. It was the opening scene in a command performance of deference with the real audience back in Moscow. The pageantry was meticulous. Putin speaks first, gets a joyride in the Beast, and enjoys lighthearted banter. The substance, a sub 3 hour meeting on August 15th that produced no ceasefire, nothing burger outcome, while Ukrainian allies weren't even invited. The admin traded ally security for a photo op. On US soil, the admin didn't host a diplomat. It laundered a dictator's reputation. Jesus. Now, these are Twitter comments. I just wanted to get a gauge of the room. Where's that other post? Let me look. Let's see what they said. She reported her feelings, zero facts. Who still watches this drivel? Should have vacated when they gave Donna Brazile a paycheck. Oh, told you. Now MAGA's pissed off at Fox News this week. Okay. I completely was taken aback, listening to such a moronic, I think that's supposed to be moronic, but okay, take on what I thought was a productive meeting. We're going to find out if it was productive. You're the one reason I would come back to Fox News Channel. This is all the reasons I left in the first place. One woman. Okay. Putin didn't come out and steamroll. You saw Trump motion with his hand to allow Putin to go first with his comments. I think Trump wanted to be last. Well, we'll see how him going last, how that worked out. I can't stand Fox News. Gutfield's the only reason I ever turned that channel on. So we just knobbing off hosts now. Okay, pause. I thought the same thing. Plus, remember when Representative Fitzpatrick went to Ukraine and wrote a message on a missile being shot from Ukraine into Russia? Jackie, I listened to your remarks right after the leaders walked off stage and they smacked the Fox News calling the Arizona election. Here we go. Yep, every time she reports from the White House, she makes everything sound like there's something wrong with the president or with the White House. She's lying. He never said he'd meet in Moscow. He said, that's interesting. We'll see. And let's just say in a couple months he does go to Moscow. Then what? You're going to say this was based? It's difficult to imagine people protesting a peace conference, but they are liberals hating anything Trump does. Nobody protested a peace conference. This was not a peace conference. But, okay. I didn't know you were supposed to have a peace conference without Ukraine there. Didn't know that. All right. These are the same folk who would say that it's a peace conference if Trump just met with Xi Jinping and not Taiwan. She should be fired. She's not a journalist. She's a puppet to her, whatever he is, represented by Brian Fitzpatrick. My God. Okay, so for those who don't know what this post is talking about, apparently they found a picture of her getting engaged in France to a House representative. And apparently they don't think that she's really with Fox News because she's from Massachusetts. She's from the Fox affiliate up there. So they think she's a liberal. Oh, no. They don't got excuses for everything. I don't see this show staying on past 2026. That's, of course, Fox is able to read the room. I doubt it, though. Jennifer Griffin is still on, shaking my head. Well, look here, dumbasses. Y'all sat up there and shitted on Fox News for years, ever since Trump lost. They're under no obligation to do what you do and what you say. They're making money. People are still advertising. Yes, their ratings are down. But guess what? Y'all were the same ones running around after Tucker got fired saying, oh, we're not going to watch no more. And here y'all are watching. Fox News should be irrelevant. You got Newsmax out there. You got OAN out there. Y'all not bringing them up to prominence. Newsmax should be the #1 conservative news channel, and it's not. So there you go. Y'all ain't shit. But okay, let's see how that really went. We're going to watch the press conference. Fair use, Fox. Fair use.
Уважаемый господин президент,
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen,
наши переговоры
our negotiations have been held in a constructive atmosphere of mutual respect.
обстоятельны.
We had
We don't
very
have to bother
thorough
mirroring it.
negotiations that were quite useful. I would like to
Seizure!
thank once again my American counterpart for the proposal to travel out here to Alaska.
Логично
It only makes sense that we've met here because our countries, though separated by the oceans, are close neighbors.
И когда мы встретились,
So when we've met, when I came out of the plane and I've said,
добрый день, дорогой,
"Good afternoon, dear neighbor. Very good to see you,
в добром здравии,
in good health, and to see you alive."
соседски, это очень
I think that is very neighborly,
подобно.
and I think that's some
Нас разделяет только
kind words that we can say to each other. We're separated by the Strait of Bering, though there are 2 islands only between the Russian island and the US island. They're only 4 kilometers apart. We're close neighbors, and it's a fact. It's also important that Alaska has to do with our common heritage, common history between Russia and the US, and many positive events have to do with that territory. Still, there is tremendous cultural heritage back from the Russian America. For example, Orthodox churches and a lot of more than 700 geographical names of Russian origin.
Второй мировой войны.
During the Second World War, it was here in Alaska that was the origin of the legendary air bridge for the supply of military aircraft and other equipment under the Lend-Lease program.
Опасный.
They go Putin showing off his world history knowledge. And Trump just standing there like a... Bruh, why does he look like that? What is going on? He looks bored. All right. He figured he was just going... I know what it was. He thought Putin was going to put him over within the first 30 seconds. He's like, nah, I'm finna show you something. I'm gonna show you how smart I am. I bet you Trump didn't know none of this. But it's okay.
It was a dangerous and treacherous route over the vast emptiness of ice. However, the pilots of both countries did everything to bring closer the victory. They risked their lives and they gave it all for the common victory. I was just in the city of Magadan in Russia, and there is a memorial there dedicated to the Russian, the U.S. pilots. And there are 2 flags, the U.S. flag and the Russian flag. And I know that here as well, there is such a memorial. There is a military burial place several kilometers away from here. The Soviet pilots that buried there who died during that dangerous mission. We're thankful to the citizens and the government of the U.S. for carefully taking care of their memory. I think that's very worthy and noble. We'll always remember other historical examples when our countries defeated common enemies together in the spirit of battle camaraderie and allyship.
Talk your shit, Putin. Talk your shit. Trump looks bored.
Supported each other and facilitated each other. I'm sure that this heritage will help us rebuild and foster mutually beneficial and equal ties at this new stage, even during the hardest conditions. It is known that there were no summits between Russia and the U.S. for 4 years, and that's a long time. This time was very hard for bilateral relations, and let's be frank, they've fallen to the lowest point since the Cold War.
Talk!
That's not benefiting our countries and the world as a whole. It is apparent that sooner or later we have to amend the situation to move on from the confrontation to dialogue. And in this case, a personal meeting between the heads of state has been long overdue. Naturally, under the condition of serious and painstaking work, and this work has been done in general. Me and President Trump have very good direct contact. We've spoken multiple times, spoke frankly on the phone. And special envoy of the president, Mr. Witkoff, traveled out to Russia several times. Our advisor.
Where's Trump's people on this? I need Trump's people to either get him a hamburger or a fidget spinner so he can focus. This man looks pissed. Maybe get him a picture of Stormy Daniels with no top on. Maybe he'll get focused then. Putin's getting spanked. You sure about that? That ain't the general consensus. But all right, you're allowed your opinions.
and heads of foreign ministries kept in touch all the time. And you know fully well that one of the central issues.
This is not live. This was
the situation
yesterday.
around Ukraine. We see the strive of the administration and President Trump personally to help facilitate the resolution of the Ukrainian conflict. And his strive to get to the crux of the matter, to understand this history, is precious. As I've said, the situation in Ukraine has to do with fundamental threats to our security. Moreover, we've always considered the Ukrainian nation, and I've said it multiple times, a brotherly nation, however strange it may sound in these conditions. We have the same roots, and everything that's happening is a tragedy for us and terrible wound. Therefore, the country is sincerely interested in putting an end to it. At the same time, we're convinced that in order to make the settlement lasting and long-term, we need to eliminate all the primary roots, the primary causes of that conflict. And we've said it multiple times, to consider...
He just took a shot at Congress.
all legitimate concerns of Russia and to reinstate a just balance of security in Europe and in the world on the whole. And I agree with President Trump, as he has said today, that naturally the security of Ukraine should be ensured as well. Naturally, we're prepared to work on that. I would like to hope that the agreement that we've reached together will help us bring closer that goal and will pave the path towards peace in Ukraine. We expect that Kiev and European capitals will perceive that constructively and that they won't throw a wrench in the works. They will not make any attempts to use some backroom dealings to conduct provocations to torpedo the nascent progress.
Backroom deals. He dropping all the tea. Boy, this is why y'all gotta read international news. Shit like this is what you read on a daily basis. You just finding out about it on Fox News. That's crazy. Keep going. Now remember, he's supposed to speak for about 8.5 minutes. Trump get the last, and he punked him. He got more. He switched the page.
Incidentally, when the new administration came to power, bilateral trade started to grow. It's still very symbolic.
Look. Look, wait, we go. Watch his face.
When the new administration came to power, bilateral trade started to grow.
He's still talking?
It's still very symbolic.
Look at his face.
A growth of 20%.
It's
a lot of dimensions for joint work.
Oh my God. And just for context, if Biden was up there, they'd have to have like 2 Secret Service agents holding him up. And dangling ice cream with a piece of a little girl's hair on top just to keep him awake. And maybe low lighting to resemble the basement. We got some asshole feckless leaders, boy. Can we all vote everybody out next year? Can we please do that as a nation? Can we start fresh? I just want to know. Everybody from Massey all the way down to whatever bitch-ass people walked up in there in 2024. Can everybody go?
The U.S. and Russian investment and business cooperation has tremendous potential. Russia and the U.S. can offer each other so much in trade, digital, high-tech, and in space exploration. We see that Arctic cooperation is also very possible.
Oh my God.
And our international context, for example, between the Far East of Russia and the West Coast of the U.S. Overall, it's very important for our countries to turn the page.
Oh, he tried to play secession games. Damn. He basically telling the West Coast of California, hey, if you don't want to deal with this madman Trump, trying to be all up in the TV, doing deals without your consent, come on over here to Russia Road. Come over to Death Vidania. How y'all got Shook Putin out here doing this right in front of Trump? And Trump just standing there. He ain't got no rebuttal. Shout out to Shook Putin. Probably, imagine if he did say, hey, LA, come over to BRICS. Come over to the Global South. Y'all got a whole bunch of what they call it, nationality sitting in LA proper in the basin where y'all ain't fighting hurricanes because they get hurricanes sometimes and earthquakes and shit and El Nino and La Nina. Come over to the BRICS. We gonna help y'all out. Fuck out of here.
To go back to cooperation. It is symbolic that not far away from here, at the border between Russia and the US, there was a so-called international date line. I think you can step over literally from yesterday into tomorrow. And I hope that will succeed in that, in political sphere. I would like to thank President Trump for our joint work, for the well-wishing and trustworthy tone of our...
Look at T. Diddy right here. Look at T. Diddy. He's like, he's still talking. Oh, shit. Hey, Paul, I'll just go warn you now. Don't mess with Aset Rod. That motherfucker will roast you into the rest of your bitch-ass flag. You better stop. I will unleash that person on you. You better stop. Focus on T. Diddy and Suge Putin. Don't worry about the chat. Thank you so much.
Conversation, it's important that both sides are result-oriented, and we see that the president of the U.S. has a very clear idea of what he would like to achieve. He sincerely cares about prosperity of his nation. Still, he understands that Russia has its own national interests. And I expect that today's agreements will be the starting point, not only for the solution of the Ukrainian issue, but also will help us bring back business-like and...
Now he's calling it corporate media brainwashing. Sir, they were literally doing a live joint press conference. Where is the brainwashing? These are their words. I need you to shut up, Paul, because you sound retarded right now. Thank you so much.
Relations between Russia and the U.S. And in the end, I would like to add one more thing.
Pocket Marmo, he'll never do it.
2022, during the last contact with the previous administration...
Cowboy, this was a waste of time. He could have did this over the phone. He wanted a deal done on U.S. soil to try to play his dominance. Just like there were accounts online yesterday talking about, look how far Putin had to travel to go to Alaska. Huh? What does that have to do with anything? As I have documented on this channel, this man does not know how to deal in this post-pandemic world. Everybody had to change their strategies coming out of the pandemic. The old ways do not work anymore. Russia got so much power in 4 years. China got so much power in 4 years. BRICS got so much power in 4 years. He don't know how to deal with them. That's why Putin can tell you, hey, I'll come meet with you. It's a free vacation. But guess what? I ain't got to agree to nothing you got. If this peace deal does not include me getting land out of it, I'm not agreeing to shit. Go ahead and sanction me again. I'll make money like I did last time. I don't need your SWIFT banking information. I don't need that. I got my own. But of course, y'all don't research that stuff, but you want to talk about, I don't know what I'm talking about. I bet y'all don't even know what the backup to SWIFT is.
I tried to...
Look at Adam. He's so mad. Now we're communists because we're watching our feckless leaders on both sides not do nothing to end this war. And the one over there in Gaza, the war that they have over here on American soil, we're the commies. Because we actually want our children to grow up in a nation where they can thrive. We're the commies. You sound like a communist. You want constant fear in people so your bitch ass can go online and say something that maybe 2 people will acknowledge. You're the communist. If you had your chance, you'd fly right to Cuba just to get a cigar and a cup of coffee. You're the communist. Yes, Paul, we know what corporate media is, which is why when I do my lessons, I don't only use the Western media. We go international. I give them all a perspective of what everybody's saying, even people on the ground. Now, if you say one more thing stupid, we're going to let you get back in bed with the corporate media that you let jiggle your balls. Pause. Thank you so much.
Convinced my previous American colleague
Не нужно доводить до
that
ситуации
the situation should not be
после наступления, которые могут наступить
brought to the
тяжелые
point
последствия.
of no return when it would come to
Now, Adam, let's not be that guy. If you're going to say the word faggot, you might as well just type it out. Don't be a tool. Are you scared of YouTube? You shouldn't be. Thank you so much.
hostilities, and I said it quite directly back
Yes, Paul, I said that because you're the only one talking about corporate media. Thank you so much.
then. That's a big mistake.
Сегодня мы слышим, когда президент Трамп
Today, when President Trump saying that if he was the president back then, there will be no war. And I'm quite sure that it would indeed be so. I can confirm that.
Oh, Trump
I think that
he's like he's still talking.
President Trump has built very good business-like and trustworthy contact.
у меня есть все основания
Good. Hey, Adam, if you feel that way, you know you could citizen arrest Biden. He's down there in Revolta Beach, Delaware. Go citizen arrest him. You will be a legend. Thank you so much.
I have every reason to believe that moving down this path, we can come, and the sooner the better, to the end of the conflict.
Come on, Shook Putin. Let me hear T. Diddy. Come on. There we go. Here we go.
Mr. President, that was very profound, and I will say that I believe we had a very productive meeting. There were many
I ain't gonna hold you. I bet you Trump's earpiece, they were playing YMCA.
points that we agreed on, most of them, I would say, a couple of big ones that we haven't quite gotten there, but we've made some headway.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no deal until there's a deal. I will call up NATO in a little while. I will call up the various people that I think are appropriate, and I'll, of course, call up President Zelensky and tell him about today's meeting. It's ultimately up to them. They're going to have to agree with what Marco and Steve and some of the great people from the Trump administration who've come here, Scott and
Did I vote for Biden? No. I actually voted for Trump in 2020 because I wanted him to clean up his C-19 mess. And I didn't want to see him again after January 20th, 2025. And obviously we didn't get what we wanted. So now we got to deal with him for 4 more years.
John Radcliffe. Thank you very much. We have some of our really great leaders. They've been doing a phenomenal job. We also have some tremendous Russian business representatives here, and I think everybody wants to deal with us. We've become the hottest country anywhere in
Here
the
we
world
go
in a very
again.
short period of time. And
The hottest country. I don't think the small business owners of this country will agree to that. I don't think Ford is going to agree to that. They just lost all their profits for the year because of them tariffs. I don't think we're the hottest country in the world. But, okay. Maybe in tech. Maybe in tech. Because you manipulate the stock market. Maybe.
we look forward to that. We look forward to dealing. We're going to try and get this over with. We really made some great progress today. I've always had a fantastic relationship with President.
Jack George, if we were the hottest country in the world, how come inflation is not going down? How come the GDP is looking at a loss by the end of the year? We're the hottest country. The job market is in the tank right now. Okay, you got it.
President Putin with Vladimir. We had many tough meetings, good meetings. We were interfered with by the Russia hoax that made it
Here
a
we
little
go.
bit tougher to deal with, but he understood it. I think he's probably seen things like that.
Well, Susie Q, the part 2 of the big beautiful bill will be the changing of the tax codes for 2026. And yet we're not going to save as much money as he and the administration think they're going to let us think. But this is what they wanted. Because they're tired of all the winning.
During the course of his career, he's seen it all.
Yes, Linzu, correct. It's been up the last two. I guess you don't listen. I said it's projected to go under 1.5% by the end of the year. The reason the GDP is up because all these companies front-loaded their inventories before the tariffs started hitting. And I was here yesterday and I showed everybody that was here how these companies, these producers, are going to start offloading the costs to us, which means people are going to buy less, which is going to affect the GDP, especially at the end of the year where most of the spending of Americans typically happens. Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, back to school. But hey, I'll do a live on January, the first Friday when they do the GDP report for the year. You guys can come and yell at me if it goes up.
We had to put up with the Russia hoax. He knew it was a hoax, and I knew it was a hoax, but what was done was very criminal. But it made it harder for us to deal as a country in terms of the business and all of the things that we'd like to have dealt with. But we'll have a good chance when this is over. So just to put it very quickly, I'm going to start making a few phone calls and tell them what happened. But we had an extremely productive meeting, and many points were agreed to. There are just a very few that are left.
Everything
Some
comes
not
together.
that significant.
Everything comes together. Okay. Everything comes together. You mean like another 90-day pause with China? 'Cause I'm sure that's not going to affect GDP. All right.
One is probably the most significant, but we have a very good chance of getting there. We didn't get there, but we have a very good chance of getting there. I would like to thank President Putin and his entire team, whose faces
Transitions.
in many cases. Otherwise, other than that, who's
Transitions. This motherfucker been in office for 6 months and we still talking about transitions. This is great. Y'all would never let Biden or Democrats get away with this. Never. You wouldn't. If Kamala Harris won the election, you would not let her get away with this. Transitions. And I'd still be on here giving her shit. No way.
whose faces I get to see all the time in the newspapers.
Actually, Linzu, we ain't been distracted. We've been laughing.
You're almost as famous as the boss, but especially this one right over here. But we had some good meetings over the years, right? Good productive meetings over the years, and we hope to have that.
Paul, who the fuck is we? I did my part. Y'all didn't do your part. Where was that red wave in 2022? I wanted the red wave. Where was it? That was a couple drops of period blood. And you still didn't get nothing done in 2022. Go ahead and tell me, oh, the Democrats had the Senate. We couldn't do nothing. Oh, okay, motherfucker. Y'all didn't go out there and fight for your people. Y'all fucked us down here in Georgia because y'all didn't want to go outside and vote for the Republicans. You let Ossoff and you let Warnock get in. And Warnock been collecting a check. But all right. Y'all lost Kentucky to a Democrat. Y'all can't talk to us. And they're floating him to be a possible presidential nominee. Y'all can't talk to us. Y'all are thinking about floating Marjorie Taylor Greene for governor of Georgia. Y'all can't talk to us. Fuck out of here.
In the future, but let's do the most productive one right now. We're going to stop really 5, 6, 7,000, thousands of people a week from being killed. And President Putin wants to see that as much as I do. So, again, Mr. President, I'd like to thank you very much. And we'll speak to you very soon and probably see you again very soon. Thank you very much.
Did Charlie Williams just say Trump is strung out on blow? You out of line. But you know what? He claimed he don't do drugs. You never know. I got Republicans and conservatives happy that they're trying to redistrict Texas because the representative on the Republican side, y'all trying to go against old Jasmine Crockett, y'all can't beat her. So you got to redistrict her out of a job. Okay. Yes, I said it. Sheldon Daniels is a piece of shit and he would never win. He more focused on going after Hollywood, not fix Texas. I'm supposed to take Texas seriously. Y'all letting Valentina Gomez, Gumby Gomez from Missouri, who lost her race for Secretary of State, go down there to go meet Dan Crenshaw and take his seat. Okay. I'm supposed to take y'all serious. Y'all are talking about floating Greg Abbott on the Republican stage in 28. I can't take y'all serious.
Vladimir?
Next time in Moscow.
Oh, that's an interesting one. No, I'll get a little heat on that one, but I could see it possibly happening. Thank you very much, Vladimir. And thank you all.
Vladimir, you said nothing. He gave American history, you gave platitudes. All right. Come on, MAGA, explain this to me. How is this a flex of power? He puts troops in D.C. Now, by the way, fam, and we're going to talk about this again at 12 o'clock when we go over Horace Cooper. You know he lost his case yesterday, right? The Fed cops got to leave the city, right? Y'all do know that. So that happened yesterday. He gave China another 90 days, and then this meeting bore no fruit, except probably a backdoor deal for Putin to get the bulk of whatever they tap in the Bering Strait. Trump just wants his crumb off of it to allow him to do it. Stephen, I'm going to answer your question because everybody is on it, both sides. And it's going to make Trump look bad. Because any endorsement he tries, people are going to say, hey, were they part of it? He releases that files, there's no point in having anybody in Congress anymore. He releases the list, Hollywood cuts off that tap to Washington. So a lot of these politicians wouldn't even get in. As we have illustrated, Stacey Abrams, when she ran down here in 2022, she was getting money from Hollywood, specifically Samuel L. Jackson and Gwyneth Paltrow. These politicians love that Hollywood money. The only reason why people want this list out there is so they can harass celebrities. It's not about protecting the children. Never was. They need content. Sure, Paul, they were made up. And guess what? Him and his lawyers couldn't prove it. Now he's sitting there with 34 felonies in New York where you can't get them expunged. Now what? Trump is just like black people, so y'all say. Black people got felonies. We cool with it. You should be cool with it too. America was built on criminality. You should be cool with it. What do you mean there was no actual convictions? Oh, Lord. Echoes. I think you're hearing voices in your head. That fool said there was no convictions. So how'd he get the 34 felonies on his record if he wasn't convicted? Okay. Oh, man. Who got 34 felonies being with a woman? Ain't Trump with a woman? Got a whole kid out of it? Probably got something on the side? 34 felonies. Come on. Black men get one, can't get no motion. This motherfucker got 34. He could fly all over the world. Ain't that a bitch? He got 34 felonies and got led into the Middle East. Ain't that a motherfucker? I don't even know what he was talking about in 3.5 minutes. I ain't even gonna hold you. Where is that video where they kicked the press out? I need that. Where is it? Might be in here. Let me see. That was the press conference. Let me see. Yeah, it was this one. Look at this.
Thank you.
This is a bad video quality, boy.
Mr. Putin, will you agree to a ceasefire? Mr. Putin, will you commit to not killing any more civilians?
Yes, that's correct, Janice. She'll be out by January.
Mr. President Putin, why should President...
Whatever that weird ass name is with the 2 X's, I'm not a Democrat. So I don't know what you're talking about, but good on you for being another one that just assumes because you're an ass.
Trust your word now.
Look. Everybody get out of the room. The Putin Witch Project. Shout out to them. I wonder what Reuters is saying about this meeting. Let's go look at Reuters. Trump could meet Putin over Ukraine as soon as next week. We know that. Let's see. Highlights of Putin's summit. World leaders. Let's see what the world is saying. World leaders react to Trump-Putin summit reaching no deal on Ukraine. Let's see. Following are reactions from world leaders on Saturday to the summit between U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin, which did not resolve Moscow's war in Ukraine. Zelensky on X. We support President Trump's proposal for a trilateral meeting between Ukraine, the USA, and Russia. Ukraine emphasizes that key issues can be discussed at the level of leaders, and a trilateral format is suitable for this. Okay. On Monday, I will meet with President Trump in Washington, D.C. to discuss all the details regarding ending the deletions and the war. It is important that Europeans are involved at every stage to ensure reliable security guarantees together with America. We also discussed positive signals from the American side regarding participation and guaranteeing Ukraine's safety. Joint leader by European leaders. We are clear that Ukraine must have ironclad security guarantees to effectively defend its sovereignty and territorial integrity. We welcome President Trump's statement that the U.S. is prepared to give security guarantees. The coalition of the willing is ready to play an active role. No limitations should be placed on Ukraine's armed forces or on its cooperation with third countries. Russia cannot have a veto against Ukraine's pathway to EU and NATO. There you go. It would be up to Ukraine to make decisions on its territory. International borders must not be changed by force. We are determined to do more to keep Ukraine strong in order to achieve an end to the fighting and a just and lasting peace. We will continue to strengthen sanctions and wider economic measures to put pressure on Russia's war economy. Ukraine can count on our unwavering solidarity as we work towards a peace that safeguards Ukraine and Europe's vital security interests. Okay. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. President Trump's efforts have brought us closer than ever before to ending Russia's illegal war in Ukraine. His leadership in pursuit of an end to the killing should be commended. I welcome the openness of the United States alongside Europe to provide robust security guarantees to Ukraine as part of any deal. This is important progress and will be crucial to deterring Putin from coming back for more. In the meantime, until he stops his barbaric assault, we will keep tightening the screws on his war machine with even more sanctions. Our unwavering support for Ukraine will continue as long as it takes. French President Emmanuel Macron on X. It will also be essential to learn all the lessons of the past 30 years, and in particular, Russia's well-established propensity to fail to keep its own commitments. We will continue to work closely with President Trump and President Zelensky to ensure that our interests are preserved in a spirit of unity and responsibility. France continues to stand resolutely by Ukraine's side. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. A glimmer of hope has finally opened to discuss peace in Ukraine. Italy is doing its part along with its Western allies. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz on X. Ukraine can count on our wavering solidarity as we work towards a peace that safeguards Ukraine and Europe's vital security interests. So that motherfucker just copied the EU statement. He just copied this last part. He don't give a fuck. They stay talking. I'll tell you, Germany's running the EU. All right. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen on X. The EU was working closely with President Zelensky and the United States to reach a just and lasting peace. Strong security guarantees that protect Ukrainian and European vital security interests are essential. EU Chief Diplomat Kaja Kallas. The U.S. holds the power to force Russia to negotiate seriously. They really don't, but okay. The EU will work with Ukraine and the U.S. so that Russia's aggression does not succeed and that any peace is sustainable. Moscow won't end the war until it realizes it can't continue. Y'all said that before. So Europe will continue to back Ukraine, including by working on a 19th Russia sanctions package. So you're going to make them more money. Cool. India welcomes the summit meeting. India Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ranhir Jaiswal. I guess that's how you say his name. Whatever. India welcomes the summit meeting in Alaska between U.S. President Donald Trump and President Vladimir Putin of Russia. Their leadership in the pursuit of peace is highly commendable. India appreciates the progress made in the summit. The way forward can only be through dialogue and diplomacy. The world wants to see an early end to the conflict in Ukraine. Norwegian Foreign Minister Espen Barth Eide, speaking to reporters in Oslo. Our view is clear. It is important we must continue to put pressure on Russia and even increase it to give the clearest signal to Russia that it must pay the price. We must listen to Ukraine's wishes and needs. We know that President Putin wants to split Europe and the United States. With our allies, we must do everything we can to avoid that. Czech Prime Minister Peter Fiala. The results of the Alaska summit confirmed that while the U.S. and its allies are seeking past the peace, Russian President Vladimir Putin is still only interested in the greatest possible territorial gains and the restoration of the Soviet Empire. And it goes on and on and on. We ain't finna read all of them. All right, so that's the European/world response. Notice they didn't get nothing from Xi or the Lula or La Lula or Modi. Where is Ramaphosa? Let me see. Maybe he had something. Okay, so this was all EU. Okay. I like how they say world leaders and they only went to the EU. But, all right. Let's see what Xi said. Let's see. Trump says Xi Jinping made promise on Taiwan invasion. Well, what's that? Donald Trump says Xi Jinping told China he will not invade Taiwan while he's U.S. president. Well, there's that. The Chinese government has long regarded Taiwan an island democracy with about 23 million people as a renegade province. Xi has repeatedly said it will be reunified with mainland China. In June, U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said there was an imminent threat that China could invade Taiwan, and reports that Xi had set a 2027 deadline for Beijing's sovereignty over the island to be established. Anyway. He's probably going to wait to see how that Malaysia deal plays out. If Malaysia can overtake Taiwan, then there's no point, except just to have more political power in the world. But we'll see. Anyway, y'all, like I said, in about half hour, we'll be back. We'll be looking at Horace Cooper and Project 21 in regards to what's going on in D.C. and possibly the rest of the country. We will go over that court ruling yesterday that gave the D.C. police chief back control of the Metro PD. And we'll see if this Horace Cooper needs to have an eye kept on him, or we'll just put him in the ground by the time the live is over. So hopefully you learned something. If you did a dumber job. If not, I try to be better next time. I will see y'all in about a half hour. Go get something to eat, something to drink. Go hump something. Go get some sunlight. Do some quick grocery shopping before the tariff prices hit. Anyway, y'all. Paul, sure. Right. 81 million people voted to put Americans first. And you should see that within 6 months, that's not happening. So hopefully November 3rd, 2026, they'll say, well, since you're not doing what we voted you for, everybody got to go. Let's hope. But, probably not. But anyway, y'all, I will see y'all in a half hour. Y'all take care, stay safe, and you know what to do when the agents of chaos come to mess up your existence. Right, whatever the fuck your name is that starts with a V. 6 months, yeah. Now, let's ask that question before we go. Would you give the Democrats this much leeway? Before we go, we're going to let them answer that. Would you let them have it? If Kamala Harris won that election and she pulled the stunts that this man is pulling right now, would y'all have said, hey, it's just 6 months? Let's give her a chance. Or y'all would want her impeached. Let me know. And don't lie. Because we know how to spot MAGA lying. And don't run. That's going to tell us. No, that's not what I asked you. I will ask the question again. If Kamala Harris won the election and she pulled these stunts that Trump is pulling, would you say it's just been 6 months? Or would you be asking for her to resign? And don't lie. Because I have it on good authority, y'all would have bitched the first day she tried to pull tariffs and then pulled back. You would have said she was a weak leader. Thank you. You would not have given her that pass. So don't bring it over here to Trump. He needs to get the same scrutiny. Republicans need to get the same scrutiny. Democrats need to get the same scrutiny. Everybody needs to get it. Thank you so much.